we're working with the choreographer, but he's like, whatever, yeah, let's, he's got great ideas. And
Tim's like, we're barely going to use this. We're not going to be, just
just do whatever.
Leave the takes rolling.
Yeah.
You guys got to both participate. I'm not going to spoil them. A couple of musical numbers in the movie. Did you find that the energy and anticipation levels spiked on those shooting days?
Oh yeah.
Yes, that was cool.
Mostly because we know what we were doing.
The stress.
Yeah, but also it's stress, but like a exciting or fun stress because it's like do anything. Just do some moves, and we're working with the choreographer, but he's like, whatever, yeah, let's, he's got great ideas. And
Tim's like, we're barely going to use this. We're not going to be, just
do whatever.
Leave the takes rolling when you want it. We just.
And are you really doing the whole song? Are you really?
Part of it was also trying to make each other break or sing what we could do to ruin the shot, which was good as well.
It was crazy and great.
Obviously, you two are both veterans of the Tim Burton School of Eccentric Outsiders, especially given that that's been his MO for 40 years now. How would you say Astrid and Delia are kind of extensions of Tim?
Ooh. Well, I'm an artist. Mm-hmm. Just like Tim. Delia is just as talented as Tim Burton in her dreams.
Yeah, I would say for Astrid, maybe it's the sense of feeling misunderstood. And also just not really caring for people's BS. I feel like Tim has a pretty good read on people, and Astrid's the same way. Yeah. She can meet someone and clock everything that's wrong with them within the first 20 seconds.
That's great. And right.
Yeah.
Astrid and Wednesday are both these private school students with their own unique way. How do you think Wednesday would have dealt with Beetlejuice and his shenanigans?
I think she would have killed him. I think she would have... I don't know how I think, it's kind of funny because the way that Michael was kind of scared of Monica Bellucci's character, Dolores, I think it maybe would have been the same. I think she probably could have given him a run for his money. She also would have liked the afterlife and probably wouldn't want to leave it. So, there's that.
Catherine, it's interesting to me because, I know that when you guys did the first movie, it wasn't initially intended to be so comedic, and it sort of evolved because of you guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Who said that?
It's part of the lore of the movie, yeah. But did you find that in this movie they were just as concerned with balancing the dramatic elements with the comedic elements?
Most of us just think that way. Mm-hmm. You want to have it all there, The story definitely helped ground, the women's characters, especially, Lydia and Astrid, what they were going through. And what Beetlejuice was going through. Actually, I love to see the vulnerability of Beetlejuice. Actually scared of this ex-wife. It's so hilarious. It's been said a zillion times, but life is a mixture of all those things and all those emotions and, and laughs. Laughter is just such a beautiful gift that we've been given to release us from pain and sorrow and, scary moments in our lives. So I think anybody who wants to make a good story tries to get it all in there.
You're a figment of my imagination.
Really? Is this a figment of your imagination?
I think it's funny that in a movie with Beetlejuice and a soul-sucking witch, that your character, Rory, is the biggest straw man in the movie. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
I think it's a fair assessment, yeah.
Yeah, he just oozes red flags from the moment.
He is a ginormous red flag, and it's shocking that Lydia did not catch on to it.
Where there are talks about how much to play it up in each scene. Cause it's
absolutely, yeah. Me and Tim had multiple conversations before we shot anything about we wanted it to be believable-ish. He had to have a reason for existing in the film. And then we just had to define the relationship, and it's clearly a toxic, terrible, codependent relationship. And the thing that sort of made us giggle was sort of when we struck on the fact that he's just sort of in his own soap opera all the time. It's just everything's about him, and it has the appearance of being like a caregiving guy, but it's the old, what about you? What do you think of me? It's that kind of, that's the sort of the angle that he comes in at.
What would you say are some of the pitfalls of a long-span sequel that Beetlejuice avoids?
I don't know. What the pitfalls of a long-standing sequel are, A, do people want it? And most of the time people will say, yes, they do want it. Until they have it, then sometimes they say they don't want it. And you're like, all right, well, you said you wanted it, but here we are. This one, I think, is different because for Tim, it really feels like a return to a kind of filmmaking he hadn't been able to do in a while, which is very practical, feels almost like borderline independent. You know, like it doesn't feel like a studio. It is a studio movie, obviously, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels has like this handmade quality to it, which is sort of a return to the original, you know. So I don't know. There's just something about this film that when I read the script, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And then when I saw the movie, I was like, oh, this absolutely makes sense. You know, it feels like it's just big enough or bigger enough that it sort of ticks all those boxes. But it takes some really wild turns that a lot of studio movies don't get to take anymore, or don't take, I guess.
Last year, I came out with a book about David Lynch's Dune. There's this one scene in Mulholland Drive with you, where you're the director and you're meeting with the mobster with the slick back hair that's Angelo.
Yeah.
And
The espresso scene.
Yeah, where they tell you have to cast this girl, and I'm like, Angelo looks just like Dino De Laurentiis in this scene.
Oh, wild.
And even Dino's brother is named Luigi, which is that character's name.
Oh, whoa.
And I was wondering, when you were making that scene, did you feel like you're kind of an avatar, like an autobiographical element for David?
Yes, I did, actually. I had some awareness, obviously, around the making of Dune and what a disappointing experience that was for him. You know, David, not unlike Tim, is a singular visionary director. The wonderful thing about both those guys is that when you watch the films that they make, it feels like the shortest distance between their brain and the screen. And that's very difficult to do. I think whenever finances are involved, or expectations, he gets very upset and is almost confused by it. He's like, why wouldn't you want me to do that thing? You know, why wouldn't you want me to? You know, I remember when we made Mulholland Drive, there was a lot of downward pressure from ABC at the time, and giving him notes like, well, you can't have smoking, you know, in the movie. And then he would say, but people smoke, why would I not have smoking? And then there was a shot of dog shit, which he wanted to include. And they had all these weird rules, like you can't show dog shit on television. And he would say, why? And I remember saying, you know, well, show me one person or kid or anybody who hasn't seen dog shit. He was genuinely baffled by it, you know. And he'd say, this is the thing that I'm trying to make. So I think, to your point in that scene, it was reflective of the downward pressure that he would feel when money people or studios or would try and interfere with what he was trying to do. And in some ways, I'm sure, not in a sort of photocopied way, that the Adam character was sort of a facsimile of some of his experiences in the commercial side of filmmaking.
It was like a meta, like Matryoshka doll thing of like, I am making a thing about the compromises I had to make, and I'm making compromises.
Well, no, but he didn't make compromises, which is probably why it wasn't picked up as a television show. He just didn't compromise. Same thing with Inland Empire. When we made that, we took that all around, took it to Venice, took it to whatever. And everyone was like, we love it, it's amazing, it's brilliant, we'll buy it, cut an hour out of it. And he'd go, no, that's not the film. You know, like, I've told you what the film is, and this is it.
Hope you like Italian. Where'd you go? Hey, come on, hey, where'd you go?
I want to know, as an Italian, what's it like to be in this 3-minute black and white scene in the middle of the movie that's just a solid tribute to like Italian Gothic horror and Mario Bava? What was that like?
But there are many tributes in this movie about Italy and Italian cinema, because of course there are references to Mario Bava, and also Beetlejuice has moments where he speaks in Italian, and also there is this moment where we hear aria of Maria Callas, even though she's not Italian, but she became a superstar in Italy. So we can feel that Tim really loves Italian movies, and Italian cinema is an inspiration for him.
Of course, you've been in Dracula, Brotherhood of the Wolf, Brothers Grimm. Are you attracted to kind of gothy roles?
Yes, because also I love comic books, and so I like this dreamy kind of atmosphere, and I think that Tim knows how to create situations that are funny, at the same time scary, shocking, unpredictable, but at the same time also emotional and deep.
And then the character you play, she's almost kind of a cross between Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas and Vampira from Ed Wood.
Or Corpse Bride.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tim creates this creature. I think she's more a creature instead of a monster. But what I like about her, there is a duality because she's scary but also funny. And also, even though she's dead, she's full of life because she's looking for vengeance, she's dangerous, and there's some glamour over there. And I have to say that we all have emotional scars, and she has the scars all over. She's like a metaphor of reality some way. And in this scene where she puts herself together, it took 2-3 days to film it, and I felt a bit like a mime. I tried to move like a broken doll. And I like also when you have the chance to give life to a character through your body, because the body is your instrument as an actor.
The juice is loose.